What happens if a situation arises that you were unprepared for? A situation such as a blizzard, a tornado, or being locked down due to a virus. Put yourself in any possible situation that could arise. Now ask yourself, what would you do? Where would you go? What do you need? Are you ready? Because what if tomorrow? Welcome to another episode of the What If Tomorrow podcast. I'm Philip.
And I'm Mark.
And man, it's been a couple weeks. We're supposed to have a guest tonight. Unfortunately, he had a family emergency pop up, so he was unable to make it tonight. We're trying to get him rescheduled. Mark Goodwin, he's an author, podcaster. So unfortunately, I mean, we're not able to have him tonight. So Mark and I decided to go down the road of in a SHTF scenario. Are you going to be a good guy or are you going to be a bad guy? And we'll get more into that here in a second. We're going to run this real quick.
Hey, this is Mark with What If Tomorrow and What If Tomorrow on the Fringe. Be sure to check out our website, whatiftomorrowmedia.com, and look at our cool merch. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, posters, and more. Our affiliates are Duke Cannon, EMP Shield, My Patriot Supply, and Conflicted the Game. Or check out buymeacoffee.com/whatiftomorrow and buy us a coffee. And as always, be sure to like, comment, and share on both Facebook and YouTube. It helps get our content out to others and help our channel grow. Now on with the show.
All right. So
Excuse me.
I don't know. I just drew a blank. Man, welcome to the show. I mean, that's it right there. Okay. See you next episode, guys. Hey, everybody. Chris and my wife at the Night Acres. If you want to see what's going on here at our homestead, go check out the Night Acres. The wife's been putting content out, trying to weekly or so. Go check out our little pigs. And hey, Sylvian, how are you doing, sir? But yeah, I mean, go check them or check her out over there. I mean, she does a lot more work with it than I do. Work schedule and schedule with this and the other podcast. I'm trying to get started up and going. We've got one episode out on that, on the Warriors Call. Trying to do more with it maybe this week since we have time. Well, I don't have a lot of time this week, but I'll try to squeeze it in there. Trying to get my mini split systems put in finally after a couple of years. But we're worked on it all day today. I'm about to punch a hole through my wall and have the first unit ready to set. So yeah, I've been busy. Had to take a week off of work. Thankfully, because it's Independence Day and since this show airs this week, I want to say Happy Independence Day to everybody today. It's a little bit early, but depending on when you listen to it, I guess.
Yeah, it might be late.
Yeah, could be. But remember, guys, I mean, what our forefathers went through to fight for our independence, and keep that in the back of your mind when you watch things go the direction they're going. The debate the other night, I didn't watch it. I saw a ton of clips. Oh my gosh. And the consensus, and I'm not bashing either one right now, but the consensus is, and these are the two people that we have to choose from.
Yeah, I heard it was kind of a crap show.
It was bad. There's a lot of talk right now of them trying to squeeze Biden out, get somebody younger in. So watch that power play there with President Trump. He's going to keep doing what President Trump does. But yeah, I mean, I think it's time to get some fresh blood in Washington. These people are so old. They're so disconnected from the populace, and let's be real, all of them up there within a couple of terms are disconnected. Hey, Jess, so what do you do? I mean, definitely continue to vote, but this is the reason why we have this show. I mean, because anybody can see right now. I guarantee Russia and China were watching the debate. I mean, they may have low level lackeys watching the debate, but
because it was painful.
It was. I mean, just the clips I saw. But if you don't think China's thinking about Taiwan or Russia's thinking about doing something because of the leadership we currently have in office right now.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not being political here. I'm trying to look at it through the lens of the world. If you don't think they're looking at it saying, okay, we have until November to make a move.
Yeah. Absolutely.
In all honesty, and because who knows what's going to happen in November. I mean, we've said it a couple of times on this show, regardless of how the election goes, it's not going to end well. I really don't believe it will.
No.
The right, the left, whatever. I don't think it's going to end well either way. Both sides are going to say, well, it was stolen and all this. Expect that. I fully expect that.
Oh, it's going to be a drama, a TV drama.
Yep.
Is what it's going to be.
Absolutely. Unless it's a complete landslide, I think it has to be. One way or another, it has to be an unquestionable landslide. Or it's going to hit the fan. Real quick, not to start off depressing or whatever, talking political stuff, but if you look at your pocketbook, guys, see how far it's getting you now. I seen somebody saying 4 years ago they were able to spend $120 a week in groceries, and now that's up to like $400 a week.
Right.
We can't sustain this.
We can't. And on a preparedness note, as we get into this, kind of tied in, if one guy wins, look for your dollar to be worth less. I would start stocking up on supplies right now.
Yep.
If the other guy wins, the other side are going to have riots in the street because that's just how they do things. It's the brown shirts all over.
Yep.
So also stock up.
Yep. Same answer.
Different reason, same answer.
Yeah. If the current president wins, I think now would be a good time to start investing in silver.
Silver is
at least silver. Gold, if you can. Silver would be easier to use in a barter situation.
Those gold backs aren't bad either.
Right. So look at your options. I would recommend looking at the options for currency. Because I believe, if everything falls apart, we're looking at gold and silver because it's tangible.
Right.
Barter items, something serious to think about, whether it be food, whether it be bullets. I don't know. Use your imagination. We've talked
Coffee,
about
beer.
it. Yeah. Things that are going to be short supply. Looking back.
The little alcohol bottles.
Yeah. Looking back a couple years ago, what happened to the toilet paper?
Right.
That was just a snippet of what could happen.
Right. The current price for silver it's up 3 cents to $29.66 an ounce.
No. So it's affordable right now.
So it is still affordable. And you can buy a bag of junk silver for not a whole heck of a lot. Junk silver is decirculated silver coins, really aren't worth much, but they're 90% silver, and they're easy to trade because everybody knows what they are.
Yep. And also pay it just once a week, something like that. Just look up the price of silver or your precious metals, whatever you have. I would recommend that. Maybe keep a ledger, even if you don't have a lot, just keep a ledger on what it's worth, what an ounce of silver is, what an ounce of gold is. That way, what you have. I'm not saying it is, but it isn't an investment. But if something happens to where you have to use your gold or silver, the value of it.
Exactly. Let's see. $5 face value of silver dime or silver half dollars is $117.
Yeah. So
Same
what?
thing.
Roughly 4 ounces of gold or silver.
Something like that. Yep.
So roughly.
Quarters is the same price, and dimes are 122 for. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Kennedy half dollars.
That's
So,
what, if I remember right, pre 1963 or 64. I don't remember.
64, I believe.
Yeah. Chris said she'll be able to barter for years with your mini bottle collection.
Well, yeah, that mini bottle collection, that's an investment in the future.
Right. Not only that, but alcohol. If it's a higher proof, you can use it for medicinal purposes.
I use it all the time for cough medicine.
Yeah, I mean, or if you have a cut or something like that, disinfect it. There's all sorts of uses for it. But we're kind of getting into a barter chat right now, but I think it ties in well with what we're talking about. Let's look at the SHTF scenario to where are you going to be a good guy, and what do you have to be a good guy? Or what do you have to be a bad guy? Because everybody, well, most people, I would say, go into it, especially in the preparedness world. People go into it with the intent of, hey, I'm going to look out for me and mine. And I've said many times on here for myself, I mean, because when I first went into it, I was like, I'm looking out for mine. If you're not willing to step up and help take care of yourself, I'm not willing to help you. But after a lot of introspection, I'm like, that's not me. That's not the type of person I am. So I would have to set aside something. Is it worth the risk? That's a judgment call, I think, in a situational type setting, to where, am I going to help this person or not?
You're going to have to learn to just take each situation as it comes, right, and balance it.
Right. But I've also, on the other side, I've heard people say, well, I'll just go take what I need. So obviously in my mind, okay, that guy's a bad guy, gal, whatever you want to call it. That person's a bad guy. If they're going to go take what they need from somebody that had the foresight to put some some preps in place, obviously that's strike one. I mean, you're a bad guy right there. No, in my mind, no,
that's your prep.
No, yeah. Oh, you're absolutely right, Enzo. Enzo said, like in most zombie movies, the living are way more dangerous than the zombies. Yeah, absolutely. And I contend in, a grid down or, an EMP. Mark and I have been doing a lot of discussion on EMPs lately, just at work and things. Man, my gut's like, oh man, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to panic anybody. I mean, I'm not saying my gut's like on point, but an EMP situation or something likely like a economic collapse where people really have nothing, your money's worthless. Sure, it may recover one way or another. It may not be in a way we like, but it's going to recover in one way, shape, or form. But it's going to be painful to get there.
And it may not be something we recognize.
Right. I mean, you hear a lot of talk about digital currency right now. That's, in my mind, a really bad thing.
It's about control.
That's all it is. Because they can make or break you. I mean, look at China. They can take it away. Oh, you didn't toe the line. You jaywalked. Well, okay, your fine's coming out. No questions asked. And
you can only spend your money on what the state says you can, or
right.
Even your employer.
Right. Oh, you had too many cheeseburgers. You can't have any. Yes, sir. I agree, Enzo. He said we're already in the earliest stages of economic issues. Look at the crime rates, especially in the big cities, only going to get worse. Look, my wife and kids and I went to Bartlesville over the weekend. Right. Caleb's at the age, my son, he is at the age of where he is getting away. He's wanting to eat adult meals, a full burger, uh, you know, adult sized fries, drink, all that good stuff. So no more kids meals pretty much. But went to Freddy's for four of us. I got a burger and a hot dog. My wife and Caleb got the same meal. And my daughter, she got a kid's meal. It costed us almost $52 to eat there. And we're like, holy cow. I mean,
It's
the
getting
burger,
ridiculous.
the burger alone was like almost $8. And I'm sitting here thinking, I mean, how do people make it if they don't have a? Oh, that's right. That's right. She didn't. My daughter didn't get a meal, and they didn't charge us for a drink. She got chili cheese fries. So yeah, it was still almost $52. If you like California or Enzo, you just came back from out that way, and I can't spit it out. Something over the desert.
Contact of the desert.
Yeah, contact in the desert. That's it. I mean, what was it like out there? I mean, was it more expensive than it was back this way, or really? I mean, it's around the world. It's crazy.
Yep. And
there. Go ahead.
I was going to say in Bartlesville, it was pointed out to me that there are quite a few homeless people living in the woods going through the center of town.
Really? I mean, I have a good job. My wife and I both do. And sometimes it's a struggle, I mean, Enzo said he filled up on gas before entering California. He said he wasn't paying $5 a gallon. I don't blame you a bit, man, at all.
Absolutely.
But especially California, if you look at the prices of meals and stuff, I mean, restaurants are shutting down. Oh, it's stupid right now.
You can't afford prices in the grocery store because all the BS that's going on, the taxes are out of control.
Right. I truly believe we're being led down a path that we don't want to go down. And I'm sure my conspiracy mind, I mean, everybody that listens knows the way I think. And if you're new, this is the way I think. My conspiracy mind tells me we are being led down this path on purpose. You guys have heard us talk about the World Economic Forum, Agenda 2030 junk. It seems to me, and I'm hopeful that it seems people are waking up. Sylvian, you're in France, correct? But it sounds like they, I mean, this may be a little contentious for Sylvian. I don't know how he voted, but they're getting some people that are like, hey, this is enough in office. But we're starting to see that. And what's hopeful for me is around the world. I've heard around the world, there are more elections this year than at any other time happening all at the same time.
That could be world changing.
Absolutely, it could. And I'm hopeful. Because you're hearing.
Start at your local level too.
Yep.
Pay attention to your local elections, even if you don't want to mess with the national ones.
I'm hearing, was it somewhere down in South America got a far right candidate elected president? I think it is, or the pendulum is swinging back.
Yeah, the pendulum always swings.
And is it too little, too late? I don't know. That's going to be the hard part to know. has the damage been done to our collective societies? I mean, because as you guys, if you're in the chat or if you're listening, Sylvian's in France and they're feeling the same effects we are. And I guess we're all in this together. I guess people need to wake up and think and move forward. Yeah, Sylvian said people are starting to get very angry. I guess there's protests and all that stuff breaking out over there. I see that here. Like I said earlier, I can see it happen in November.
So we'll see. I don't think November is going to be a pleasant month.
I don't either.
December even more so.
Right? Because what happens if Trump gets in office? We can war game that. I mean, it's kind of away from the subject we're talking about, but we're kind of as a free for all show anyway. Do the powers that be try to speed up their agenda to try to make it happen within a couple months, or if they see the polls and all that, do they try to speed up the process to try to get us to fall? Then hand the incoming president
has this huge mess
crap show.
Yeah. Well, we saw it last time Trump got elected. Nobody on the other side felt it was legitimate. They had riots in the streets. I had a person on Facebook post that they were going to go into all the people who voted for him's houses and kill them and their families. And this was a respected member of the community. Now, it did not stay up long. I'm sure somebody in the household put a kibosh on that, but I saw it.
Come on.
That's what I said. I said, bring it.
That's kind of where I'm at. Come on. Let's get this going.
That's how they think.
Did I say happy?
Their way, they got to throw a little fit and threaten to kill everybody.
Yeah. Anyway, let's circle back around. We're running down a tangent like we normally do. We need Jess or Pam here to keep us lined out. We do.
We do a good job. We need a producer with a stick.
Right. One in each room.
Just stand behind me. If I get too far off, just whack me in the head with that 2x4.
But the good guy, bad guy thing, like I said earlier, obviously, if somebody's saying, hey, I'm going to go take what I need, no questions asked, you're a bad guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not a lot of explanation needed. Because chances are that person is taking their security preps and that's it. That's all they had. Jess said she's in if she gets to swing a stick. You don't live far from Mark, Jess.
She doesn't. She can get right down here and be back there with a 2x4 in minutes.
I'm sure Chris had opened the door for her.
But she'll hand her the 2x4.
Right? But if you're a bad guy, chances are, like I said, you have your security preps in place. And we haven't really talked specifically about security preps. Just said you'll be there in 2 minutes, Mark. Better lock the door.
All right.
But if you're worried about security preps only, okay, that's your everyday carry weapon, that's your rifle, ammo. If that's all you're prepping,
you don't have good plans.
You're not planning very well at all.
No.
Enzo said she's going to beat you like a piñata.
Yep. It won't be candy that comes out of my head, though.
Right. But yeah, look down that road. I mean, if that's all I had to think about was my security preps, my guns, my ammo, if I have a plate carrier, what I need for security, and it doesn't just stop there. Your security preps can be, if there's a way you can have cameras outside or something to prepare your property if maybe it gets overrun. It depends on how far you want to go with it. If you want to see how far some people go with it, go watch Doomsday Preppers.
That's kind of crazy.
They do. I think they go a little overboard. Because last year you and I hit on it a ton about building your community up, and because that's what you're going to have. You can't do it alone. You can't be the lone wolf.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys are isolationists.
Right. But they're not thinking ahead about food preps. If everybody's hunting, your game is going to be dwindled
Scarce.
down to nothing. Plus a lot of people don't know where to go to shoot wild game, especially in a town or something like that. People may not go to that. I mean, we're in a rural area, so everybody kind of hunts.
Yeah. I'm investing in cat traps.
I've heard cats kind of stringy, but
yeah, but they're plentiful.
Yeah, if you boil it down enough, I think you'd be all right. Put it on simmer all day.
Put it on a skewer. You'll be fine.
But, so I would recommend not thinking about just your security preps. Sure, it's great to be armed, one way, shape, or form. If you're not a gun person, they have my buddy Troy. I can't remember who he works for now. It's not Berna anymore. Is it Berna? Oh, what is that now? I can't remember. I can't think of it. What, you remember Troy when he came on?
Yeah, I remember. We talked about
they had the ballista pack. Yeah, it's Berna. Okay. Yeah, because it was ballista packs. Then ballista pack or Berna bought the ballista pack. Berna has a self-defense or less than lethal gun, and it shoots balls with like tear gas and stuff like that in it to incapacitate people, which would be a great option. If that is something that you're totally against, as firearms. I mean, I hate to say it, but it may take one bad situation for it to change your mind.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you don't like guns, whatever, that's fine. That doesn't bother me. But I'm just saying, it may just take one bad situation.
Right.
So that's an option for your security. But let's look at the other side, because we've already kind of well established, hey, if you're a bad guy, that's probably pretty much all you prep for, which is the bad things. And my guess is if that's all you're thinking about, you didn't do a very good job of that anyway.
Right. And I've had people out and out tell me, I'm not worried about it. I'll just come take yours. And I suggest they try their assumption at their leisure and see how that works out.
I mean, but there's people out there, so be aware of that.
Yeah. You know them.
Yeah. I've heard people say it. Hey, I'm just going to come out to your house.
Oh, yeah.
Depending on the context. Okay. If you have something to offer, whether it be knowledge, skill set that I don't know or have,
supplies,
come on in. We can teach you a lot of this stuff to help be an asset to the community.
Turning the ground with a shovel ain't hard.
No, sir.
Anybody can learn it.
Takes a strong back.
I've got the strong back and the weak mind.
But let's look at the other side. The good guys. Let's. I'm trying to paint a picture here. Look at the good guys. Okay, your good guys will have your security.
Yeah.
You're going to have your food preps. You're going to have a set amount. Okay, this is what I've got. Know what you have.
Yeah.
They're going to have a community being built.
They'll have water preps.
And I would also throw in there they're spiritually prepared, whether it be mentally, spiritually, however you want to look at it. I think it's, for me, I believe it's two separate things, being mentally prepared and spiritually prepared. But however you want to look at it, it's going to be that square. It's going to be the four sides. I think what true preparedness means is security, your food, water, and spiritually or mentally.
Yep.
I truly believe that's what it is. You need to be prepared in all those aspects. And if you're not, take steps to go that direction. You know, you've heard us say it 1,000 times. It's easy to start. Buy some, you know, you go to the store, you need one thing, buy two, store one. There's options online, you know, My Patriot Supply. There's other options out there. But My Patriot Supply, I'm plugging them because they're our affiliate.
Costco has stuff.
Yeah, Costco, Walmart. You can go to Walmart and buy Mountain House freeze-dried food.
Yeah, camping section at your big box store is a good place to start.
Yeah. You can get one of these. This is where I got the camping section. It's multiple spices: salt, pepper, garlic salt, cayenne, curry, paprika. You got to have flavor when you eat. I mean, that's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
But there's different things that you can use. I mean, I can't tell you exactly what you need to go buy. And that's a big thing I see a lot of people asking is, what do I need to go buy? What do you use?
Yeah.
If you're not going to use it, don't buy it. I mean, that's plain and simple. If you don't like it, if you don't like that kind of food, sure, if you're hungry enough, you'll love it.
Canned goods.
You know, canned goods.
Get stuff you like.
Yeah. Take a step up. Plant a garden. You know, now's the time to start thinking about a fall garden. You know, getting different things in place if you can, if you have the space or containers or raised beds or something like that. Now's the time to think about planting a fall garden. You know, start looking into what grows well for fall harvest.
Container gardens.
Right. You know, your water preps, rain collection systems, wells, store bottled water, store big jugs of water like Mark does. You know, there's ways to do it. I mean, like I said, again, if you're not going to use a certain way, don't do it. Start easy. Don't just say, hey, I've got to go buy all this stuff right now. You'll never get it done.
Yeah.
Just said, why would you want to grow containers? Barter items.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, but your water preps, start simple.
Yeah.
You know, they're a little more pricey, but you can go to the box stores and get a big pack of bottled water.
Right.
Buy one, store it, stay out of it.
You can buy a water barrel for $50.
Right.
It holds 40 gallons of water.
I'd recommend, you know, going to Atwood's. Look on your marketplace. There's several places around here on the marketplace that sell food grade storage containers.
Yeah.
For $25. I think we bought some barrels for our pigs.
Yeah, I've seen the
like
big
$25 a piece.
Too. Yeah.
Do what?
Food grade liquid crates.
Uh-huh. So there's options. Look at that stuff. Mentally, spiritually. You know, prepare yourself mentally. Okay, if this happens, run through some scenarios. I mean, you guys have heard us conflicted, and we're going to get into that here in a little bit. You know, you guys have heard us play conflicted. And I think if we have guests, I think we're going to start having them answer a couple questions in one of the decks. But I think that's just for future shows that we talked about. Just
for fun.
Yeah, just to have fun, maybe close it out, get a set, you know, where their minds are. If you mentally prepare, you have to be mentally prepared because it's not going to be life as we know it. If a total collapse happens, it's not going to be life as we know it.
No, it's going to be bad. I would suggest some sort of electrical prep too.
Yeah.
For instance, do I have that right here? I've got sitting real close to my desk someplace. I've got a solar panel that I can put on suction cups in my window and charge a cell phone or a laptop or whatever it is that uses USB power.
Yep.
Get a small generator.
Yeah. My wife threw out for water preps, IBC totes. They're 250, 300 gallons.
Yeah.
You need 1 gallon of water per day per person. And that's bare minimum.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely electrical preps. I've got a little Jackery. You can go to like Harbor Freight. I've got a little small Jackery electric generator, and it works great. You can plug into solar. You can plug it into the wall. I want to come back through later on and go down the road of an EMP or CME again. Kind of make reminders.
Yeah, let's do that. You can buy a 2-stroke generator at Walmart.com for like $140. They'll ship it straight to your house.
But again, there I would throw that personally. I would throw that under security prep. I really would, because there's no power. I mean, there's no power. It's going to be pitch black at night.
Right.
But you have to think about when and how to use it. Because you don't want to, if there's no power, you don't want to just have lights on.
No. I'd keep my heat and my refrigerator and freezer going.
Right. Maybe a lamp somewhere. You want to get heavy curtains and stuff like that at nighttime. That way, if you have a light on.
Yeah, a dim light.
I mean, right. But anyway, let's say you go into a full intention. You go into preparedness with full intention. You have your square. You've got a good supply of food, say 3 months worth. It's a pretty decent amount. That'll get you through a season. Hopefully, you're going into a growing season, so you're able to start planning and all that. Definitely invest in some seeds and stuff like that, because in a situation like this, seeds would be a phenomenal barter item if you have extras.
And they are cheap.
Yep.
Right now, you can go on Amazon and buy those Mylar seed vaults for next to nothing, with all kinds of heirloom seeds that are not going to go bad.
See, I'm not going to disagree with you. You can do that. I can't remember the name of the company. I bought some through the seed vault, and we tried to plant some here a couple of years ago out of it, and they weren't very old. I don't know that they were a year old, and barely anything came up.
No, that's a risk.
So I would say beware. I'm not saying you don't do it. I mean, absolutely get seeds, but just be careful where you're buying it from. Definitely, you definitely want to know how old they are, where they were harvested from. They're supposed to be heirloom, but you don't know. So it's kind of a iffy situation. It could have been my mistakes planning it. Absolutely, it could have. Yeah, Enzo, you're right. He said, good thing you tried them out before having to depend on them. Right. Did I store them wrong? That's possible. So there's always things to take into consideration when you're doing that.
Buy them from a seed catalog. Those will last several years in their paper containers.
Right. So I say just be wary of where you're buying them from. I don't know that I would go straight to Amazon. But there's options. You got Baker Creek, which we've had a ton of luck with Baker Creek seeds. The wife has started many of them. Yeah, she said on there, she said, buy your seeds from a good seed company. Yeah, Baker Creek is a really good one. But yeah, I mean, let's say you've got your 3 months worth of food. You've got a good water supply. Your security's tight. Let's say you've got everything you need. Yeah, absolutely, Enzo. He said, since you already have a big garden already, you can cycle your seeds just to always have a year supply on hand, right? Yeah, definitely. If they're heirloom, you can harvest those seeds from those plants. And my wife has actually taken many seeds from vegetables and stuff that we have bought from Walmart. Like last year, she planted butternut squash, and these things went stupid. We had butternut squash everywhere.
Squash is actually one of the best crops you can plant.
Yeah, they're easy to grow.
Yeah. I'm going to do it this fall in a container garden.
And then I think this year we saved some from poblano peppers, and we planted, and they came up and they grew pretty well. But yeah, I mean, let's just say your preps are on point. You don't have a need to go out and take from somebody else. I would say that would explain the ideal, quote unquote, good guy.
Yeah, ideally.
Most
people are going to fall in the middle.
Right. And you may even, if you're a quote unquote good guy, you have enough for you and yours or your community. Say you've got a good community around you. If you have somebody come by needing something, you might have a backpack or something put together for them. Say, hey, this is all I can afford to give you. Here you go. Maybe you work a day out here, help, in the garden or something like that. I mean, this is what you can trade for it. That way it's not costing you anything to barter.
Right.
How about you just come work for it for a day? Because most people that are needy aren't out to get you. They're hungry.
Right.
They're scared. They don't know what to do. You have a way to defend yourself from the bad guy. My wife said Baker Creek, M.I. Gardner, and she said she generally has good luck with seeds from Walmart and Lowe's. But where the good guy takes a turn, I think is the gist of this show tonight is what causes the good guy to make that turn. I think if he runs out of food, if he didn't, plan well enough and ran out of food and wasn't able to get any more,
somebody came and stole all of his stuff.
Somebody came, steals all his stuff. Your water gets contaminated somehow, some way. Something drastic happens to one of your preps. Will cause somebody to become a bad guy. Because they're going to be like, this is what I have to do for my family. Because they're going to justify it in their mind. They're going to justify it. I don't want to, but my kids are hungry. And I really, personally, I see it more revolving around food.
Right.
Food and water.
Shelter is going to be easy. Everybody's got shelter already.
Right. So I see that happening. I see it more revolving around food, like I said, but if you go down that road, you run out of food, you run out of water, somebody steals it, somebody forcefully takes it, and you're able to not defend yourself that well, especially if you're by yourself. If they don't leave you for dead, if they get through it and you have to get, because what's going to happen? I mean, let's look at a scenario. What happens if you're on the way home, you have a 3-day pack and that's what you have. And it's just you.
Right. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do if somebody holds you at gunpoint? I mean, realistically, let's think about that, because that's going to happen. If one of these situations kick off, it's going to happen.
And the thing is when it's going to get bad. Good people are going to turn bad, and people who are already bad are just going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
If we had an EMP or a nuclear attack DARPA estimated that half the population of the country would be dead within 6 months.
Oh yeah,
of starvation.
Yep, 90% in the
and
first year.
predation. Yeah, 90% the first year.
So mentally, I think is extremely important to consider, mentally, spiritually. It's something seriously important to consider, because you need to run through that scenario. What would I do? It's like I heard a person years ago when Obama got in office. They were talking, the whole gun debate and all that, which has been ever going. And this guy, he said, well, he can have it when he pries it from my cold, dead hands. And I asked him, I said, do you mean that? Are you willing to die for your guns? He said, well, probably not. Well, then don't say it.
Right.
And
question
I wasn't.
You should be asking yourself is, are you willing to die for your family?
Right. And I promise you 100% I am. And that's something I want everybody to think about. You hear all these cliche sayings. Are you really willing to go that far? Make up your mind now, because that's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
Like you allude to, Mark, when you talk concealed carry, and that's one of the first things the instructors tell you. You got to make up your mind now that you're going to use that weapon. Not in a moment.
Yep. Make up your mind now, or just leave.
Right. So my wife, she made a good point. She said 3 days max and people will start taking from others. Mm-hmm. I mean, crap. Look at all the looting and all this crap that goes on after natural disaster. Look at Katrina years ago.
People were drowning and people were walking through the way with a flat screen over their heads.
Yeah. It's going to happen. I mean, we already see it when people get desperate, when people get greedy, because that's what that is. Oh, I got a way to get free stuff. Let's do this. If an EMP goes off, what's that TV going to do for you? But you got to make your mind up now as to what you're going to do. If you're going to fold and live off the system, make your mind up now. Accept that. I would hope not. I hope you have the foresight to at least prepare to hold yourself over for a while, so you don't have to. Because, I mean, frankly, that's my goal.
Hold out until things come back.
Or something new gets reestablished to where it's beneficial. I don't know what's going to happen.
Or if anything will.
Right. I mean, we're talking extreme scenarios. Extremely extreme scenarios. Again, chances are, we got a hurricane bearing down on the Caribbean, right now, in that area of the world, a hurricane can wipe you out.
Prep or no prep.
Right. Here we've had several tornadoes in the area this year. One, 40, 50 miles down in Barnsdall.
Yeah, it wasn't even that far from me.
No.
About 20.
So the town got wiped out. Luckily, and I say this, it's not really luck, but luckily there's only 2 people that died from that.
Could have been worse.
It absolutely could have.
And
so that
realize we are living in a blessed time where we can predict the weather to some extent and give warning. Right. So you can take shelter. That's the only reason it didn't kill half the town.
Right. But the town was wiped out. I went down to Atwoods down in Bartlesville that following weekend, and I was looking at chainsaws. I've been throwing around the idea of getting a new gas-powered chainsaw. And there wasn't one to be found.
No.
Electric, gas, there wasn't one to be found other than what they had on display.
And having worked in the Lowe's store as a contractor, they most likely had every chainsaw within 100 miles of every Lowe's sent to that store as well.
Right.
And they were already out.
Yep. So I guess the point of the show is be the good guy. Get your things in order. Have a way to protect it. You know, build that square. You know, your security, your food, your water, and your mental and spiritual preparedness. Build that square.
Build your community.
Build a community. Because you're going to have it one way or another.
Yeah. People weren't meant to be the lone wolf. We're a pack creature. We're social. We do better in groups. What one person doesn't have as a strength, another one does. And we tend to complement each other whether we think that or not.
Right. You know, that's why Mike, No Stress Mike, you know, he's on a few years ago. He had a good idea. And it was that 3-man militia idea. He based it off of a Marine Corps fire team. And it built on itself. You know, you have 3 guys. If I don't know if you guys were around listening to it or, you know, a while back, or if, you know, you're unaware, but you get 3 guys into doing the same thing, whether, I mean, it could be cooking or security or you name it, gardening. You build a 3-man militia. That's what he's called. You know what it's called. Communicate with your sheriff. Say, hey, this is what I've got going on. You don't have to call it a militia.
Nope.
But, you know, if you 3 of you want to cook, and are able to cook for a large amount of people, let the sheriff know, hey, this is what I've got. I've got a few guys. If a disaster happens, or if there's a big wildfire, because we get a lot of those.
Yep.
There's a big wildfire or something, and you need help cooking for all these people, give us a call. We'll come help you.
Yeah.
You know, or you got 3 guys into boating. You know, if there's a person lost at the lake or in the river or something like that, you can get out there. Boom! You can take the divers and let them do what they got to do.
You know, I got a dog that used to do search and rescue in the military. He's a rescue. We'll bring him out. Right.
You know, so build your 3 people with that, right? Then when you get those 3 people, you know, we'll just say founders. Okay, you got those 3 people. Well, if one person wants to branch off and do something else, you know, gardening, you got 3 people that are into cooking, and you got a guy into gardening, and you got 3 people. You know, you're still connected by that one person.
Absolutely.
You know, so it builds
a larger community as you grow.
Right. So it builds. It just and you're all pretty well like-minded. Because I mean, let's be honest. I mean, people that you're friends with, Mark. I mean, I've got different friends, but chances are, I mean, like attracts like.
Yeah.
We're all going to be pretty well like-minded. We're going to have some differing opinions, obviously, but overall,
my friends are probably weirder than yours, though.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
but anyway, that's kind of the gist of what we're talking about. Don't fall into that trap of just depending on one side of that square and having to become a bad guy.
Right.
You know, so that's where I'm kind of going with this. That's the idea I had behind it is just build it equally.
Decide what kind of person you want to be.
Right.
It is how I would basically frame that. I don't want to be the guy who has to take from everybody. I want to be the guy who is in a position to help those around me.
Right.
Now, yeah.
something just kind of hit me because I promise you, if you're a bad guy and you're trying to steal from people, I really don't believe your life expectancy is going to be very long.
Not in this area.
But there's going to be somebody to try it. And they may be successful a time or two.
They won't last very long. They won't last a week around here.
So just food for thought.
It is.
Yeah, Mark. Let's go down the conflicted route. You got a deck of cards we haven't messed with.
I have a brand new conflicted deck. This is Conflicted Conspiracy.
Right down our alley.
Yes, this is right down our alley. I'm going to pick one right off the top.
And if you're in the chat, let's hear it. You know, that's kind of what we're wanting to do. So,
well, let's see. That's the Joker. That's the instructions. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, or however you pronounce, has claimed that President Hillary Clinton's charity foundation and ISIS are both being funded by the same shadowy groups operating in the Middle East, especially the governments of Saudi Arabia, Qatar. Do you agree with Julian? What would the agenda of Saudi Arabia and Qatar be?
Well, my thoughts on it, I agree with it. But did you see they let Assange go?
Yes.
With time served?
I didn't see that.
So I want to know the deal. I want to know what deal he made.
He probably had something held back as a insurance policy. He said, look, if you don't want me to talk about this, you're going to let me out.
Yeah. Because I heard some stuff disappeared from WikiLeaks. I can't remember. I think it was on Biden, I think, something like that. So I'm kind of wondering if that was the deal that was straight. I don't know. But hey, we're talking about conspiracies now. Saudi Arabia and Qatar. I don't say that's my gut feeling is oil. Because if you look, you know, and it's something to think about that just came out in the news here a couple of weeks ago that Saudi Arabia came out and said, hey, we don't have to just take the petrodollar anymore. We can take any currency you want. So I think that's it. I think it's oil.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, the next one. All right. I'm going to have to take my glasses off because my eyes are really bad. I do not have an in-between. Numerous ancient civilizations around the world had a custom called head binding, a practice where two boards were tied around an infant's head in order to make the crown of the skull grow longer than a normal person's. These cultures did this to mimic the appearance of the ancient quote-unquote gods that ruled over their ancestors. Also found around the world are humanoid skulls, which are naturally elongated. They are usually 30% thicker than a normal person's skull, and none present the sagittal suture lines, the scar that's running around the cranium plates, feature found in every human on the earth. DNA tests done on a set of these skulls, which were found in Paracas, Peru, say they are not human. How does this fact fit in with the belief that humans either came from primates or were created by a god according to their own image? So, this deck covers just a little bit of everything.
Yeah. In that answer, I know what I believe biblically, and I'll leave that there. But there is questions that have to do with, you know, alien, you know, or whatever, you know, creationism or what have you. But I know what I believe.
Yep. I mean, and it could go both ways too, because I'll tell you, I knew a guy when I was a kid. If you looked at him, you definitely believed he came from an ape. Nicest guy in the world, but he looked like a Neanderthal.
Had the unibrow.
Oh, and the protruding. Yeah, and he was so hairy he made me look like a naked mole rat. Yeah, kind of. And he was about 6'3", so it was kind of intimidating for a little guy.
Heck yeah. Hey, Enzo, he said I'll be answering this question and many more tomorrow at 3 p.m. in the Caney, Kansas library. Yeah, Enzo's going to be in Caney tomorrow at the library.
I'll be there.
Putting on a little class, so that'd be awesome.
I have no class, so I've got to go get Enzo's.
Well, you got to wear your Hawaiian shirt.
I've got one. I'm saving it for the weekend, though.
All right, what you got next?
All right. The easiest way to gain control of a population is to carry out acts of terror. The public will clamor for such laws and their personal security is threatened. Joseph Stalin. Do you believe the government sometimes orchestrates violence in order to control its population through fear? Give examples of a recent event that would fit this category.
Just a second. Enzo said Hawaiian shirts are mandatory. Let's
Very
see.
well.
Yes, I believe it. If you look at Operation Northwoods.
Yep. I mean, they've admitted it several times, so why wouldn't they still be doing it?
Yep, I absolutely believe it.
So, yep. All right. Scientists are developing chimeras, which are animals with human parts. Human pancreases are being grown inside pigs, and human ear was grown on the back of a lab rat. Creating the first chimeric embryos takes 2 stages. First, a technology known as CRISPR gene editing is used to remove dead DNA from a newly fertilized pig embryo that would enable the resulting fetus to grow a pancreas. This creates a genetic niche or void. Then human induced pluripotent stem cells are injected into the embryo. The iPS cells were derived from adult cells and dialed back to become stem cells capable of developing into tissue in the body. How far do you think this type of experimenting will go, and what could be the consequences?
I'm hearing this is happening. You know, with the ears, I've seen the video of it. The pancreas, pig hearts. They're using in people, you know, with heart conditions. I don't think they're using the entire heart, but they're like doing valves and stuff like that.
Right.
Didn't they use the CRISPR technology in the vid, jab?
I don't know. I know they were using mRNA, which actually changes your genetic makeup, which I find very dangerous.
Yeah.
But
I want to say that was off of CRISPR technology.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of genetic manipulation.
No.
But humans, they're going to do what humans are going to do. They all, especially certain subgroups, think that they are smarter than creation and they can do anything they want.
Yep.
All right. Photos circulating in 2010 show U.S. soldiers protecting poppy fields in Afghanistan, which provides 90% of the world's supply of opium poppy, the raw material for heroin. In July of 2015, the Center for Disease Control warned of record-breaking numbers of heroin deaths in the United States. Heroin use is more than doubled amongst young adults aged 18 to 25 in the past decade. The CDC reported, why is the U.S. military being used to protect raw materials for dangerous drugs? Well, I can tell you right now, it was in payment for services rendered. We'll do this for you if you do this for us.
Yeah. I've seen that.
It's also used for painkillers that you get prescribed through after a surgery. So there is legitimate medicine made out of these too. So there's that as well.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That could go either way.
I would agree. Yeah, I can go either way. I don't know. I don't. I think part of me don't want to say that our troops are being used to funnel drugs, but on the other hand, I can see it happening.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a story as old as civilization.
Right.
People in power use that power to line their own pockets and obtain more power.
Yeah.
It's as old as time. It's as old as civilization. Probably older.
I'm sure.
Clinton Eugene Clint Curtis is an American attorney, computer programmer, and ex-employee of NASA and ExxonMobil who is notable for making a series of whistleblower allegations about his former employer and about Republican Congressman Tom Feeney. He testified under oath in front of the U.S. House Judiciary members in Ohio, alleging that in 2000 he was hired by Congressman Tom Feeney to take out in 2000 to build a prototype software package that would secretly rig an election to sway the result 51-49 to a specified side. Do you believe the federal elections in your country could be rigged? Why? I absolutely think they could be.
Could be.
The major stockholder of the company that manufactures most of the election machines in the country are owned by the spouse of one of our lawmakers. That seems like a conflict of interest to me.
Yep. But on that note, I think if you look at all the contractors and all that, if you follow the money, I think you'd find that there's a lot of that happening with contractors.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
But yeah, I think I think it's, you know, at the very least, I think it's under threat.
Yeah, whether it's been done or not, I don't know. I can't prove it. But
Yep.
whether it's possible, I believe it's absolutely possible.
You know, and I think this election, they better have it figured out.
Yeah,
Because I don't think the people are going to stand for it. Yep.
Count them by hand. All right. Oh, here's a good one. Operation Paperclip.
Enzo just said that too. Hand counting paper ballots only. Yep. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Operation Paperclip was the United States Office of Strategic Services, OSS program, after the end of World War II, in which more than 1,500 Germans, primarily scientists, but also engineers and technicians from the Nazi war machine, were brought to the United States for government employment. They were all given a clean identity, and none suffered persecution for war crimes. What do you think of the American government's decision to do this?
I'm not surprised.
I mean, not surprised.
I think that's how NASA came to be, in all honesty.
Yeah. And a lot of goods come from that. But, I mean, still, some of these people were guilty of some pretty bad things.
Yeah, for sure. Enzo said bad guys working for us is better than bad guys working for Russians.
And
that
he's also right.
At the time. You're absolutely right.
He's absolutely right. As bad as our own government can be, they're still better than most everybody else.
I think so. Well, I did at that time, yes.
At that time, yes.
I think anymore. I think we're heading down that road.
We're sliding down that slippery slope,
right into darkness,
at breakneck speeds. All right. In 1986, National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act protects manufacturers from being sued in case their vaccines are proven to have caused harm. In the last 30 years, the child vaccine schedule has tripled, and in the same amount of time, the U.S. autism rate has went up from one child having autism for every 2,000 in the 80s to one child out of every 45 having autism in 2015. Is modern medicine just better at diagnosing autism, or is there a link between vaccines and autism? Up in the air on that one. It could go either way.
Yeah, I lean to the vaccines. I'm not completely anti-vaccine. Don't understand, don't take me at that.
And I think that pot has something to do with it.
But what does?
The marijuana, the THC, which is proven to have genetic consequences that you pass down forever. I think that because THC can be used to treat autism. And so I believe the two are connected. I can't prove those allegations, but that is my belief.
Well, I'd never heard of that. I've never heard of that. So, but I find it odd that all of it's increasing.
Right. There's got to be a reason. Now, part of it could be we're better at diagnosing or we're over-diagnosing.
Yeah.
We have seen that in the past. People, the ADD thing, that was way over-diagnosed, and some of these kids did not need medications, and they were basically zombified.
Yeah.
They had issues at home that needed to be dealt with, but we just drugged them and said it was ADD.
And I think that is a symptom of our educational system in some aspects, because they want kids in a box. And we were actually talking about this yesterday but they want kids in their little boxes. Okay, you're going to learn at this level. No matter how intelligent you are, you're going to learn at this level.
Yeah.
And, we struggle with my son right now. And he's not like getting distracted and stuff like that, but he is advanced and he's bored with school. So we're looking at different avenues to help him. And my wife just said that these kids need to go outside and play.
They do. They got to burn off some of that energy, not be cooped up for 8 hours.
Yep. So I absolutely agree with that. Anyway, we got time for a couple more.
All right. We'll do a couple more and then we'll sign off. In 2012, the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development took place in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The 180 nation leaders who attended reaffirmed their commitment to Agenda 21 in their outcome document called The Future We Want. What do you know about the Agenda 21, and how do you feel about your leaders describing it as the future we want?
Wow, we've covered this one because it's a new name now. Agenda 2030 or the Great Reset.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Sustainable Development, DEI. So it's still there.
The future that they want. They want absolute control of your life from cradle to grave. Where you don't breathe, you don't sneeze, you don't fart without their permission. It is socialism and evil as deep as you care to push it. It is nothing but enslavement of the people of this world to the rich and powerful.
Yep, absolutely. If you don't believe us, do your research.
Doesn't take much
effort. Anything that we talk about, do your research.
Yeah, because we're not the bright bulbs in the box.
Mark and I, we joke a lot about the poor research that we do for certain topics, and frankly, we do. But if you actually look into some of these things that we talk about, or look into everything we talk about,
some of it's just downright scary.
We skim the surface on a lot of this stuff just for the time limit.
And to start a conversation.
Right.
We want you to research it, not depend on us. I don't want you to believe what you see on YouTube. I don't want you to believe things just because we said it. I want you to do your own research, make up your own mind. Right. Because I ain't like them. Bill ain't like them. You're intelligent, educated Americans. Start acting like it.
Right. Use some critical thinking.
Wherever you are in the world. Yep. Sorry, Sylvain.
But no, I mean, that's exactly what it is. I mean, Agenda 21 was all sustainable development. You're hearing of these 15-minute cities. That's sustainable development.
Yeah, 30,000 people in one apartment building.
Yeah. They're going to let nature, they're going to close it off, to certain areas for people they're going to close everything off to where only people can go to certain places, and they're going to let nature take everything back. Look at the Georgia Guidestones. What it say? 500 million people. Worldwide population. Don't let it grow farther than that.
Yeah, that's what they're trying for.
It's exactly.
I have the feeling that somebody in the World Economic Forum sponsored that.
I wouldn't doubt it. At one point in time, I thought depopulation was just a conspiracy theory.
I don't anymore.
Not after the roads we've been down in the last almost 4 years. Man, it's been 4 years almost, dude.
Yeah, in August 3rd.
3rd, I think. Yeah.
Crazy.
It is. But after the like I said, the roads we've been down, I believe it's more real than what I thought a long time ago.
Yeah, we've come across some stuff I thought, oh yeah, there's no way this is true, and then it's like, or is there?
Sylvian said it was fine.
Well, I would take it as a compliment, Sylvain, because I would have you as a neighbor any day.
Yep.
I'll bring over some brats and some beer, and we'll kick our feet up and have a nice talk.
All right.
One more?
Let's do one more, then we'll call it.
One more. All right. This one's a short one. Why do food labels lack the percentage of recommended daily consumption for proteins and sugar?
Because they want us addicted to sugar.
More specifically, corn syrup.
Yep.
Corn syrup is far worse for you than sugar.
Absolutely it is.
And it does not taste nearly as well.
Yeah. That's why.
Yeah, I do, Enzo. I do even have an empty house next door, which they are still working on. So once I get fresh pictures, I'll once again try to tempt you. I want Enzo to be my neighbor because he's just
that'd be cool.
Awesome. He's just awesome.
Cool. On that, I'm living proof, man. I mean, I've cut out sugar.
And I'm an addict. I mean, you can tell. I'm 340 pounds. It's a wonder I'm even alive.
Yeah, I've cut out sugar. I just hit 76 pounds I've lost since October. And
Yeah,
I've cut out I've cut out carbs, basically, but my wife's right. She said there's no money in healthy people.
Sylvain said that sounds like fun.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I'd love it if he was my neighbor. We have to have him on the show sometime.
Yeah, we need to, but I think he works. I think you're at work right now, aren't you, Sylvian? Because he's like 6 or 7 hours ahead of us.
We could do a special episode.
Right.
I get a kick out of having him on here. I'm glad he is.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's about money. It's not necessarily conspiracy theory. The companies that manufacture all this stuff, corn syrup was a useless byproduct of the food processing process. And somebody said, well, why don't we use it instead of sugar and sell it and sell things for the same price? And this is way cheaper. It's a byproduct. So it's not costing us a thing.
Right.
And now it's in all your pop. I don't know how many people out here drink sodas. And I want you to watch the store one of these days and watch when they put out a throwback, like Mountain Dew throwback or Pepsi throwback or whatever it is. I want you to get one of the regular ones we drink now and one of the throwbacks and get some saltines and do a taste test. That's all I'm telling you. It tastes better and it's better for you.
But what's crazy is a lot of other nations around the world don't allow a lot of ingredients that gets crammed into our food.
Right. And it's about money.
Yep. exactly
We're
what
not
it is.
allowed to eat healthy. They're trying to make it so expensive to eat healthy.
Yeah.
And make the crap cheap.
Yep. Sylvian said he could teach you how to remote view. That'd be kind of cool. And he says he's at work. It's 3 a.m. there. So
I would like to do that. Pam is also studying that, so that could be really fun. We could do an episode on that.
Yeah, for sure. But man, it's been an intriguing last 20 minutes. Just different thoughts. I mean, you and I think quite a lot alike anyway. I think most everybody on that listens and stuff does as well. But it's cool with these cards because you actually get to see the process, the thought process, and then because a lot of ways we won't have the same answers.
No, and it's fun. I think we should have like a what if tomorrow game night one of these days.
I think so. I think it'd be fun.
We'll need to advertise the heck out of it. Try to get as many people on the chat as possible, and pick a deck or maybe a couple decks, and just go through and ask some of these questions. Go through some of the scenarios.
Yep.
So I've got a humor deck here that we should try.
Yeah, I think we've done it because I've got the same one.
Okay.
We've done the Chupacabra one and stuff like that.
Yep.
I think I had that one up to start with. My wife said glyphosate causes cancer and all kinds of other health problems, but they still spray it in our food. Yep. Yeah, it's actually the last card on my deck right now. It said Chupacabras are mythical or alien goat suckers of Hispanic origin. So the first thing to do when you see one is to say hola, como estas. If the vile creature is still threatening you, check yourself and make sure you stop doing whatever you're doing, and that is making you resemble a goat. So, but man, good conversation tonight. I've enjoyed it.
All right, man. Well, I want to wish everybody a happy Independence Day here in the United States and around the world. I just wish everybody a good week, and hope that everybody is tolerating the heat well.
Man, Garrett, my son, my 20-year-old, he's up in Michigan right now. He sent a screenshot of his phone this morning. It was 44 degrees up there. So I bet Willie's hey, Willie called. Speaking of Willie, he called me Saturday.
Oh yeah,
we chatted for a few minutes. He's doing pretty good.
I miss Big Willie. I haven't seen him on for a while. I was kind of hoping he could come to our Paracon this year.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Need to ask him about it.
Yeah,
but we've been chatting back and forth every couple weeks or whatever. But he's doing well. He's doing really well.
So, all right.
Anyway, folks, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks everybody in the chat, hanging out with us and comments and all that good stuff. Don't forget to check out the Night Acres. Don't forget to check out On the Fringe and Bordertown Strange. That's this week. Are you guys doing one this week?
We are Monday. We're going to do On the Fringe, and Wednesday, as far as I know, we are still doing Bordertown Strange. So it will be a fun week next week.
Yep, the girls are tearing it up out there. Yes, sir. Thanks for hanging out, Sylvian. Appreciate it. Enzo, drive safe tomorrow, man. But everybody, thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you next episode.
Good night.